equity, the topic of today is beyond bank loans, unlock private capital as a source of capital for SMEs. This is very, very important, as we would be able to see as you move on. You'd see that actually it's very, very critical. Today, what we are going to be looking at is actually what it represents and what benefit does it bring us? Because at the end of the day, many businesses have collapsed, which we think that are big. Those that are when you look behind the business, you will see that it's not being a good business. Whereas on the surface, we've seen that looks very, very good. So we are going to take a short time to present, and after the presentation, we shall be able to ask as many questions as possible. So I'm going to leave a lot of time for presentation. Now, what is debt? I thought I would delve into debt, and so that people can understand what debt is. Martin, I don't think I should be telling you how to move the slides. You should be following and move them as accordingly. So what is debt? I see my slide doesn't move. So debt, everyone knows what debt is. And debt is where you get money from someone else with the hope of paying it back. What are the tools of debt? Some people do bonds. Bonds are loans made to governments, companies, by investors who earn interest over time. The payment for debt is always interest. There's factoring. And here I'll talk to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, sometimes you have unpaid invoices, money you expect from other people, and you want immediate cash. Sometimes, other than going to the bank, there used to be factor companies where you go and someone says, okay, how much are you trying to collect? 200 million. Can I give you 160 now? And then I'll collect the rest later on. Of course, those companies exist. Bank loans, this one everyone is used to. Credit cards, these use cards. They give you a limit in the bank, and you're able to buy things using that card. Sometimes you cannot draw cash from it, but you can buy things using that credit. Business loans, you know what business loans are. Most of you are very familiar. Mortgages, these are long-term loans that use property as security, and that always helps people to finance their businesses. So as we go on, Martin, please follow me. Interest is a reward for capital, as most of us know. When money is borrowed, it's borrowed over a period of time, and you're expected to pay back. So you know very well that Uganda has one of the highest interest rates in the world. There are many things that go into interest. Cost of capital, how they source all this information, it's all very important. So what is equity? We talked about debt as a source
Investors
of finance.
have put nearly $25 billion to
Yes, continue, play it.
Work in Africa to date, building world-class businesses, growing economies, and improving community across the continent. This video illustrates the wide-reaching impact of private equity in Africa and the contributions of several key players to the PE ecosystem. Consumer-led sectors in Africa have seen heavy deal activity over the last decade. Key drivers of sustainable growth include agriculture, education, financial services, healthcare and infrastructure, among others. Job creation is an integral part of private equity. By investing in African businesses, PE firms have been able to drive economic growth and improve social mobility. Meet Alfred. Alfred owns a large agri-processing plant which packages and sells wheat-based products to supermarket chains across the region. His factory offers specialised training for employees and apprenticeships for young people in the community. Here's Marianne, Alfred's wife. Marianne is the branch manager for a multinational supermarket chain, which recently received backing from a PE fund to expand operations across the region. Her branch represents over 10 nationalities, with a workforce that is 60% female. Marianne's employment allows her family increased social mobility and enables greater accessibility and financial inclusion. Say hello to Anne-Sophie, Alfred and Marianne's daughter. Children like Anne-Sophie are able to enjoy the benefits of a PE-backed, state-of-the-art medical centre in the district, which serves over 1,000 patients every month. Armed with a stellar degree after years of obtaining a first-rate education, Anne-Sophie is able to start a new job with her local bank, support herself and contribute to her society. As the African private equity industry grows, sustainable investing has become more crucial. Through collective effort, private investment has allowed greater accountability in businesses and improved living standards for millions. Even more than that, PE has facilitated the development of human capital and fostered competitive advantage across the continent. Over the last 5 years, fund managers have invested nearly $25 billion and raised over $16 billion to invest in Africa, bringing about a multiplier effect across economies. PE firms continue to work with businesses on the ground to achieve their growth objectives. In doing so, investors are able to build a sustainable future for Africa. This is our common purpose.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, AFCA, for that. That is the Africa Private Capital Association. We know, I thought I'd bring that introduction so that you can be able to understand what PE is and to have some examples of PE, how people are utilizing it. So, first of all, PE, which is private equity, is money invested into a companies that are not publicly traded. All of us have, or most of us may know, what public companies are. Public companies are companies that are publicly traded on the stock exchange. And the companies trade on the stock exchange, and their first time when they come onto the stock exchange, it's called initial public offer. You know very well that most of our people may not be very familiar with the stock exchange. And most of us fear the stock exchange because it seems a foreign concept, but it's a way of trading shares and making capital available to the owners of the companies. Some of the companies you know in Uganda that are on the stock exchange, there is Stanbic Bank, DFCU, Uganda Clays, there's Uganda Clays, there's Kenya Airways, and a number of them. Unfortunately, there are not many, but I'm sure the Stock Exchange Capital Markets Authority, they're trying to do a lot of work to make sure that this happen. Because of this, most companies have resorted to debt as a source of financing, and others have gone back to private equity. But private equity means that people must understand your business. They must look through your business and be able to understand your business the way you understand it. Some of us sometimes do not want people to understand our business. Because you're bringing in a partner in a business, people need to understand the business. And that's why we say that the system must have, the company must have systems of operation, system of collection of money being documented, owners' money being different from the business money being accounted for, it has accountants, it has salesmen, it has strategic people, it has a board of directors, it has all the good things that make up a good business. You've seen that most of our businesses have not crossed to a second generation. It's simply because all the knowledge has been put in the head of one person. That is the business owner. He's the wise man. Nze Mugezi, for those who understand Luganda. The entrepreneur always says Nze Mugezi. When you go down to Chikubu, many people run their businesses out of their own minds. He either runs it alone, he runs it with his wife. Sometimes the children are not even involved. And when the unfortunate thing happens and the man has to pass away or the woman passes away, then the child is brought with no experience. He's been running nothing. He doesn't have the resilience to run a business, and they bring him in into a 5 billion business. You imagine someone who has never driven a car, who has not even ridden a border, and you give him a Ferrari, what is going to happen? And that's why most of these businesses collapse. So, what are the types of private equity? This is not very, it's important to know. Leverage buyout is what we call LBO. Leverage buyout fund strategy combines investment funds with borrowed money to buy companies and make them profitable. Basically, these people will come in, borrow money with you, invest with you borrow money together, and then you grow the business. Growth equity. Companies raise capital through growth equity to boost expansion. Growth equity works similarly to venture capital, but it is less speculative. Because in growth equity, we only give growth equity to people whose businesses have been showing a trend of growth, as the word says it. People come in to show that if you've been growing at times 2, can we grow you at times 5? Can we bring money that is going to help scaling? If, for example, I'm selling juice and I'm only selling in Kampala, can I be able to sell in Arua, Guru, and everywhere? So you bring in private equity to grow the business. Venture capital is a form of private equity that deals with funding at early stage, startups, new businesses, and all that. Here, the rates of failure are very high sometimes because if the idea is not well researched, if it's not addressing a problem in the society, it may be hard to run the business. Normally, these people do not have a lot of experience in business. They need to be put into incubators, they need support, they need to be trained, they need to be mentored, and all that. That's the difference between them and the growth equity. Then we go to what we call REITs, real estate, real estate private equity, or investment trusts. Here, they bring in money to build real estate. Like, unfortunately, in Uganda, most of the real estate is built by private individuals. But you're going to find that municipalities come in and build things like malls, build things like entertainment centers, like you'll find things that are big real estate, housing estates, and so they attract private capital and combine with private capital and make sure that they build this. So it's very interesting how how private equity works. So we continue. There's also infrastructure. Firms raise capital from private equity investors and use capital to buy assets, operate them, sell them for profit. This happens a lot. We've seen that the Express, which is very efficient, the Entebbe Express, is being run using debt, but you'll find such in some countries, you find that that road is financed by a private company, private equity, and they collect money for a certain period of time. I know that the Chinese also have a concession to collect money for some time and then hand over to the government of Uganda, but that has not been structured through the private equity. We have what they call fund of funds. These funds provide money to funds that invest in other businesses, And that is not very important, but just for you to be aware. Mezzanine capital, this is between debt and equity. They provide debt as well as equity, and you're expected to pay interest on some of the money that they've provided. Distressed private equity, we need this in Kampala. We have so many businesses that are distressed. These are businesses that are not, what would I say, that are in intensive care, or some of them are already on their deathbed. But they're good businesses, but they lack the blood, which is the lifeline of the business, capital. Some people do not have capital, and they do not admit other people to do something with them. So let's have the next slide and see what it is. Please go ahead and play it.
The African private capital ecosystem has grown significantly over the past 20 years. Yet, there are many common misconceptions about investing in Africa.
Investing in Africa is a risky business.
There's only 4 countries worth investing in.
Isn't Africa only useful for natural resources and agriculture?
Africa is one country, it's not even a continent.
When it comes to investing in Africa, only the 4 leading countries matter.
Africa is not actually people say.
Africa's startup scene is booming.
Workshop the world.
Being the first unicorn in Egypt was extremely rewarding.
Companies valued over $1 billion.
Operations from Japan, India, across Africa.
Africa's default rate is the lowest in the world.
With the growing middle class, with urbanization, big growth is in Africa.
If you're not investing in Africa, actually, where are you investing in?
The mismatch between how the world sees Africa and what it's really like on the ground is huge. People often see Africa as one homogeneous market. What they miss is that Africa is a booming continent filled with 50 countries, each with their own unique dynamics that shape the investment landscape. While the big 4 are important, there's a whole lot more to investing in Africa.
Our data shows that 52% of Africa's total deal value is outside of the big 4.
There are lots of amazing stories from all over the continent. Let's take a look at Sun King. They're the world's largest supplier of off-grid, pay-as-you-go solar power solutions.
We provide energy one home at a time. So from Kenya, we expanded into Tanzania, Nigeria, and Uganda in 2017. Then we added 3 more countries in 2021 and 3 more countries in 2023. We are also one of the largest rural employment generators in entire Africa. I have 3,000 employees and 30,000 agents.
When you look through the African context, there are opportunities everywhere. Ghana, for instance, is a great market for us.
Another thing I commonly hear is that Africa is only suitable for natural resources or agricultural investments. Yet finance is one of the fastest growing sectors in Africa. We've seen $11.7 billion in investment. This is one of the sectors I've been really excited about.
So we work with the unbanked. I started off my life from the impact of microfinance on small business holders. I showed how profitable their businesses are, how fast they're growing, and the biggest hurdle to growth was access to funding. We're very bullish. In local currency, our loan book has been growing about 70%. This translates to north of 35% growth in dollar terms.
Everybody is looking to Southeast Asia, to Europe, to the US, but I would invest in Africa. It's a combination of transitioning from basic products to high-end products. And this combination is exceptional. From natural cheese to processed cheese, from the basic soap to more specialized products. And this transitioning is happening right now. And that's why we just doubled the size of the business.
The third myth is this. Africa is risky and African businesses lack scalability.
It's not extremely risky. We have demonstrated that this business is scalable in one country and replicable in many other countries.
African companies are highly scalable. We had a very strong team to solve a real problem. We've now scaled to solve this problem in a global context.
Over the past 5 years, we have more than quadrupled our revenue. I think I can proudly say that we changed their life.
When you look through the African context, there are opportunities everywhere.
everywhere.
Africa is the future of investing.
I think we are just at the start.
Future of investing in Africa is here and now.
Well, you can stop there. You can stop there. Martin, because it's a bit slow. The network is a bit slow. So you can stop there. Then we can go on to the next slide. Martin, thank you very much. Antonia?
Yes, Steven.
Martin, let's continue with the slides. Please. Sorry, I don't know where the network is a problem, but I doubt it's coming from my end. But
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. No, I was just wondering why the video is not able to play, but later on when I share the slides, you should be able to play it. Martin, can we continue with the slides? What has happened? Okay. I know sometimes, let me maybe continue. As Martin comes back, I should be able to continue with my slides. Just a minute, please. Antonia, is it okay I just continue as he comes back?
Yes, I see him trying to share the screen again.
Okay. Do I hold on a little bit?
No, it looks like he's back. Thank you, Martin.
I know for the businessmen, this looks very, 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 very too much information, but this is what we are doing in the real estate. I mean, sorry, in the private equity. That is fundraising. The total value of final closed funds in Africa in last year, we had $4 billion being fundraised. 60% of it was infrastructure and private equity funds. So the fundraising value, each representing 30% of the total value of the final closed values. We normally get this money from development finance institutions, and they're the ones that give us most of this money. This include IFC, the British, the Norwegians, the Belgians, the French. So they invest money in here and take away they get the profit in terms of the growth and in terms of the value that you're able to generate. African investors need to increase their commitment because we need to invest in our own companies. Most of us leave money to be put in idle land. Someone can have land of about 2 billion, which 2 billion can be put in a company and it can generate maybe up to 9-8 times the value if you deploy it in a company. We need to avoid idle assets and deploy the money responsibly. The interim clauses, fund managers in Africa achieved 33 interim clauses with a combined value of $2.2 billion. Investments. 5.5 billion was invested across 485 reported deals in 2024. And that represented 8% year-on-year increase by deal volume and value. Now, we go to look at the deal size. The average deal size was $15.2 million. Sector focus, the finance sector was the most active sector, while the consumer showed some growth. Southern Africa, regional focus, Southern Africa continued to take most of the capital, as you can see there. Then we have exits. That's when private equity firms have left the business. Exits, we had 63 private capital exits, making a significant 47% year-on-year increase. We had exit routes. These are people who buy. What did we? So they were sold to trade buyers, the primary exit route, accounting for 41% of the total exit, while secondaries transactions reached 32% of the total volume. The holding period was 6.6 years. As you'd know, private equity comes in to stay for a short period of time. Normally, people do up to 3 to 10 years, but the average holding period was 6.6, as you'd know. And so, Africa focused private capital fund managers raised 4 billion across 22 funds in 2024, more than double the total value of fundraising in 2023. So, the rebound drove fundraising value well above the 2.7 billion annual average of the previous 5 years, meaning more money is being fundraised for Africa. And this goes on to confirm the fact that Africa is the next frontier of investment. That's what we move preaching in America, in Europe, and we're trying to draw capital into Africa. So, and we ended the previous 2 years of what? Of decline. A key driver in the larger upswing was the bulk infrastructure and private equity players who managed to raise larger funds in 2024. So, as you see the table there, the graph, you see that money has kept on growing, and except in 2021, you can see that we are getting back to, and that 2021 could have been because of the effect of COVID, because people deployed a lot of money in COVID in the funds. Now, we go to 2024, as you can see there. So, fund size above $250 million accounted for 66% of the total fundraising value. It means the bigger the fund, the more attractive it is to investors. A large size fund closed in 2024, the first time since 2021, helping drive up fundraising value, offsetting stagnation in small size funds. That's quite straightforward, and you could be able to understand that. Average and medium sized funds closed in 2024 and sold to 183 million and 117 million respectively. So all this information is current information, and I'd like to tell you that I'm very fortunate, and we are fortunate that we have the Africa Private Capital Association that is always tracking this information on a quarterly basis. And that's why this is real information of the deals that have happened. So we continue. Total value of African capital fundraising, distribution of funds raised by the year 2017 to 2024, you can see most of the funds are raised in the third quarter as compared, the third quartile, and you can see that as well. Continue, Martin, let's go on. Let's continue, Martin. Share of African private capital fundraising by investor type. you can see 42% of the money comes from development finance institutions, 18% comes from pension fund, 10% comes from sovereign wealth funds, 8% from fund of funds. Then you see insurance companies there, corporate, investor banks, family office, foundation, private individuals, 1%. And that is 2022 versus 2024. So you can see that the contribution of pension funds has gone up. Sovereign wealth funds has also gone up. Fund of funds has gone down. Family office has also gone down. But you can see that private individuals have also gone down. So we need to put more effort, collect our money. I've not seen collective investments that we normally hold here. So 2024 witnessed a rise of local investors, although international investors continue to dominate. African investors gained ground, collectively representing 19% of the total value of capital flow into Africa, compared to only 14% in 2022. That you can see. So you can see that actually most of the capital is coming from abroad, and that means that even the benefit goes back abroad. So as Africans, we need to pull up our socks. So there were 485 deals completed, representing 8% year on year, and the 5.5 billion was invested, $1 billion, which represents 7% year on year decrease. So there was a decrease in the money that was invested in Africa, but you can see the bulk of money that we are talking about. I didn't want to compare to the rest of the world because sometimes you get humbled. When I was looking at the annual report for private equity for the entire world, I was really humbled at how much money we are able to get as compared to the rest of the world. No wonder that they are benefiting more, because we seem not to be organized sometimes in our companies, and we need to be organized. So you can see that. How much went to Southern Africa? 129 deals, and that is $2 billion, almost half of the money. West Africa, 0.6 billion. East Africa, 0.7. North Africa, 0.8. Central Africa, 0.2. And overseas, 1.2. So this is the evolution of private capital deals in Africa by region. You can see how the deals have been growing. Fortunately, East Africa is growing. West Africa is declining. South Africa is on the growth curve. Central Africa is really miserable. But overseas, you can see what is happening. So we can continue with the next slide, Martin. Total value of private capital deals in Africa year by year and sector. You can see that the financial sector is commanding. Then you can see the rest of the consumer there, energy there, industrial, real estate, and everything there. And over time, you can see that financial services is taking up. And this goes to, because financial services is regulated business, and these people are organized, they have boards, they have what. That's why they're very easy to give money to. And there's a lot of transparency in financial services. So we really need to up our game to become more transparent, just not only to private investors, but also in our homes. Where do we invest in private equity? Let's go on. Consumer discretionary, you can see the sectors. You can see consumer durables, apparel, consumer services, and all that. Healthcare equipment, services, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, life sciences. You can see financials, banks, financial services, insurance. You see consumer staples, food, beverage, household and personal products, information technology and fintech, financial technology. You have software and services, technology, hardware and equipment, semiconductor and semiconductor equipment, communication services, telecommunication services, media and entertainment. This is an area where we're trying to put emphasis for our creatives, for the young people. Personally, I'm passionate about the youth, and I'm trying to make sure that I put my energy in this area, because other than having TikTok videos, can we create some content that is sustainable? So media and entertainment, and very soon we're having a discussion with my friend King Karisa just last week, and we are trying to do something in this space so that we can occupy the Ugandan youth in this area. And therefore, we should be able to prepare so that they can be able to attract private equity capital and grow our media. And we're also trying to make a collaboration with the Nigerian partners who are very good at this media in Africa, so that we can have some content money coming in for Uganda. You can see people like Kenzo benefited a lot from it, and what's her name? The Muchiga lady who is in comedy. She also benefited a lot, and she still benefits. Actually, when I was traveling to the UK last week, I met her at the airport. She's always in and out, but she's making money because of content. So we need many more people specializing in content development for the young people, so that they stop using the phone as entertainment and they use it as business. Healthcare, you all know healthcare. We have a very young population, but as the population grows and the money becomes more, people need to invest more in healthcare and pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and life sciences. Industrials, I won't say more. We need more industries in Uganda. The president is always talking about it. Commercial and professional services, these also need to be, private equity also invests in this. If you can have an output that is very good, you can have people invest money in it. Transportation, and let me not say more. We know how our infrastructure is. You marvel at some of the infrastructure that people have put up, like in China. Just look at the Entebbe Express, much as it costs a lot of money, but the efficiencies it brings. Uganda Airlines, I will not mention. The efficiency that Uganda Airlines has given business people like myself, is enormous, and you cannot imagine. And that's one of the best decisions that the government has ever made. Let's make sure we support Uganda Airlines so that it can go up as well. So private equity also invests in this. Materials, chemicals, construction materials, containers, packaging, metals and mining. We have so many minerals. We see things like real estate. I've already talked about energy, electric utilities, and I will also talk about, of course, things like education as well, and agriculture and other sectors. Can we continue, Martin? So there are many, all sectors, only that not every private equity invests in everything. There are those that are specific on what they do. I would like to say thank you to Enterprise Uganda for this opportunity. SECA, our usual partners, AVCA, I cannot say more. I know your team was up till late, helping to give information so that we can drive this initiative throughout Africa. International Finance Consultants, my colleagues, East African Venture and Private Capital Association, for the support that you always give. David Owino, under the leadership of David Owino, thank you very much. And then my own business, Yaka Wealth Management. Thank you very much. And thank you, Martin, for spending sleepless nights putting this together. I would like to invite questions, and over to you, Antonia, so that we can be able to handle the questions and comments. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Steven, for breaking it down for us. And we can now, please feel free to put up your hand or type your question in the chat. I can attest to what Steven has presented. As I mentioned, I work with Jibu. Jibu is in 8 countries. What has the wind beneath the wings has been private equity and the benefits that it brings. Alongside the money, like I said, there's always that expertise that comes along, So if you want to scale the business, you can't do it alone. And with debt investors only participate in profit. Whether you've made the money or not, you have to pay back debt. But equity investors, there's a lot more stickability with it. So it is something that we should seriously consider for businesses. I see a question. What is the best private equity according to your experience? Steven, is that clear to you?
Yes, it's okay. I know. I appreciate what he's saying. I know where he's coming from. I'll just try and make it clear.
Okay, please go ahead.
Do you want me to answer one by one?
Okay, I could read a couple more. Someone says, how can one become a private equity investor? Caroline asks, can you please simplify the discussion to SME? Where do I find the private equity providers? What is the process of application for private equity? Those are the ones that we have at the moment.
Can we handle this? Let me tell you something about private equity. I will relate it to a home where you have a partner and you have a bedroom where they cannot go. We need to be very, very transparent. The first thing, you must prepare for them. If you do not prepare for a partner and you think you're going to keep away certain secrets and you think you're going to just come in and use them, they give you capital and you do not disclose information, you have to be able to report, you must be able to share with them. You're practically sharing with them a bed. So if you can share your nakedness with someone, then it means they must share into the rest of the information. You really need to make sure that you are transparent and are ready. You must be investor ready. How do we get investor ready? You must set up systems. You must have a financial advisor. There's one thing that we forget. At a certain size of business, the business goes beyond our minds. And we need an accountant, we need a lawyer, we need business advisors, we need a board. You cannot be the alpha and omega for everything. The biggest challenge that we normally have is that people want to stay with their own small thing. Kantukange. Sorry for those who don't understand Luganda. My thing, my little thing. I don't trust anyone. The moment you start saying you don't trust anyone, it means you have issues. You need to check yourself. Are you transparent yourself? Are you able to work with other people? Do you give them a chance? Do you disclose information, or you have bank accounts, secret bank accounts, where you bank some cells and you'd like to give away? Private equity is good for people who are transparent. And last time I was attending a function where Yield Fund was closing, and I was shocked. They have local companies and companies being run by foreigners, and they were only closing out foreigners, and the local people still have a lot of issues, because when the money comes, you want to solve your small problems and not solve the problems of business. We need to grow beyond small issues of wanting to show off our businesses, not investing in the business. You need to invest in the business. And whether you have a big problem, discuss it with your partners. If you want to buy a Range Rover, discuss it with your partner that you'd like to apply the bulk of the money to. Just a minute, someone was trying to call. Martin, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, why would you apply the money to something else? You need to focus the money on that. Who is the best private equity investor? The best private equity investor is the one you can talk to, you can open up to, and they listen to you, And normally, because this is money, by the way, let me tell you something. This money is managed by a fund, a group of people. But this money belongs to many people sometimes. And that's why this is money that you need to be careful about. Because when you talk about money from IFC, when you talk about money from Propaco, when you talk about money from let's say, BII, when you talk about money from wherever, that money is a collection of money from many different people. And that's why it must have proper rules, proper reporting. You must be an organized business. You must be an authorized business for them to deal with you. So there's nothing like who is the best private equity. Just know that they keep on revolving. People keep on giving them money because you may find Ascent Capital, which I know very well because I work with them a lot. They have money from maybe about, if you're to put maybe about 100 investors, 120 investors in Fund 1. In Fund 2, they have capital from about maybe 200 investors. So Ascent Capital is only managing the fund. The private equity firm is only managing the fund, but that money belongs to a group of investors. Now that takes me to the next one. Simplify the discussion for SMEs. Yes, SMEs, what you need to know is that there are people who provide capital. How do they provide the capital? They provide the capital by making sure they allocate that capital to organized firms, which they think can be able to grow the investors' money. Because their aim is not to give you money, but to grow the money. So it's a mutual goal. You grow the money, they grow the money together with you. They improve your business, they make your business sustainable, and you grow together. Someone asked a question about process, Antonia. What is the
Yeah.
Can you remind me?
Just
Someone
let me get where is it? Can you please simplify them? What do investors prefer? No, just speak through the process. What would someone what
Okay. What
process
does it
of
take? What does it take
application,
to become?
how to apply?
No, they asked, what does it take to become an investor in private equity fund? Every one of us can invest in private equity fund. Normally, a private equity fund goes out for fundraising. Fundraising, like now, myself, we are setting up a fund, and we go out to fundraise money from investors. So we tell you what businesses are we going to invest in? Is it going to be a debt fund? Is it going to be an equity fund? Is it going to be a mezzanine fund where it includes debt and equity? Then we say maybe the minimum capital we are taking is 10 million shillings. So we crowd fund, we get all that money together and pack it in packages for capital to be applied in businesses. So everyone can be an investor. Some people can invest through collective investments like investment clubs. You can be able to participate in this growth through your investment clubs, or you can be able to, in your own right, there are people we call high net worth individuals. Or you can reach out to us. Most of you have my email. Those who would like to invest in this, you can reach out and then we can have a private conversation. So that's what it is. It is possible. It's only that you need the concept to be broken down for you in a simpler way so that you can be able to understand it. Finance matters are normally sophisticated, but I normally try to break them down to people. So you can be able to contact me or contact Antonia. She can be able to break it down for you, or other professionals on the forum. Antonia?
We have a couple of other questions. Steven, regarding process, someone had asked how to apply, but then we also have another question about what it takes to become an investor, just in a private equity fund. You've answered that.
So the process of applying for money, my simple advice would be, do not apply for money if you're not organized. It doesn't mean that because your business has been very successful, that's an organized business. How do you tell that you're organized? You tell that you're organized if you have an accountant, you're filing your returns on time, that is URA returns, NSSF returns, you can generate financial statements, accurate financial statements that reflect your business, not financial statements that people do for you and you ask them about their financial statements. I mean, your financial statements when the banker is visiting you, financial statements that you actually look at and are able to interpret with your accountant or your financial advisor. You have systems that you can stay away from the business and the business can still operate. You have people who advise you. It may not necessarily be a board, but you have people, because you're an SME, you may have advisors who you can turn into a board of directors. People who are not yes men, but people who are going to critique your business and advise you. And you must have meetings, regular meetings, whereby you discuss your business, a strategy, you have a strategic plan, you know where you're going. Basically, you prepare your business in such a way that even if you're left today, other people can be able to run your business and run it successfully. That's in preparation. Then, after you're prepared, you go to a brokerage, or there are people who are available, like international finance consultants, like there are other accountants, or your accountant can be able to refer you to people who can package your business for the private equity firm, or you can contact the private equity firm directly so that you can be able to get them interested in your business. But it's very important that you have an advisor. And Capital Markets Authority has investment advisors. You could start with there. There's a list of investment advisors, but there are also accountants and lawyers who you can go to, corporate lawyers, accountants who are in corporate finance. You can go and they can be able to help you to be able to start on the process. It's normally a long process, but the more transparent you are, the quicker the process is. Then they can prepare for you what we call an investment memorandum. Then once they've prepared the investment memorandum, that can help you to attract investors to come in and put money in your business, provided your business is transparent.
Thank you, Steven. And transparency is a theme that has been we've had in the recent business recovery series topics. Remember, for those of you who are regulars on the on this discussion platform, we had a presentation on good governance. You could go back to that to dive deep into what Steven is talking about, getting your business ready. We had the gentleman from Bravo Shoes who also hammered a lot about transparency. And I think what is going to transform our businesses to just dying with the first generation and not transitioning into the second one is transparency. Like Steven said in the beginning, someone runs a business, the wife doesn't know, the immediate people don't even know, the children. So transparency is a big step. And if you're in doubt, please do register for a business health check, because that is exactly what it is about, looking at all the key elements of the business and giving you a health report on how you're doing on marketing, on HR, legal, financial. So all the key pillars of the business that Steven talked about is what we tackle in the business health check. At least it will give you a baseline of where you are. So the next question, on the issue of high interest rates, is the factoring sector having some rate section having that? Do they have reasonable rates, or does it depend on an individual?
Factoring is not a very popular business in Uganda, and I think it all boils down to trust. We have a very trust deficient environment because sometimes some people generate fictitious invoices. You may not be able to confirm, or he goes and colludes with people and the money is taken out. So most of the factoring companies that had tried closed, but I'm sure there are some available. I've seen some available, and the interest rate depends on the pricing. I mean, the price according to the person, how he. It's going to be round about what the bank charges, but only that it is it's finance. It's like a debt, because what if someone, you're demanding 200 million and you want it today, and someone tells you I can give you 180, it means the 20 million is already interest on the 180. So you can be able to work out the compensation for the person who is factoring. Now, what's the current state of PE environment in Uganda? Touching on the tax and regulation, the government has worked on this. They've worked on the incorporation, and they're working on the tax regime as well, and they have given exemption to transactions in the PE space in tax wise, and also at the URSB there's a desk that is handling these registrations of limited partnerships and all that. This is all in the spirit of improving the PE environment in Uganda, and you can be able to read, or you can be able to go to some of the people who are doing this. Some corporate lawyers, the firms that do corporate law. You can go to firms like ENS. You can go to Max Advocates and and uh, and others. You can go to say um, SLB. I mean then there's Kasebia Rohanga. All those firms, you can be able to go in and you'll see that they can be able to advise you on what has changed in the legal framework. But all I can say is that there's spirit towards an enabling environment for private equity, for us to set up funds in Uganda and be able to run private equity in Uganda. And that's why as I've indicated below, we are trying to fundraise money for a local fund in Uganda. And those who have some money, you could be able to come over. You can contact me so that we can talk about this more, so that you can be able to put in money in this fund so that it can be able to help enterprises in Uganda. So that's what we are doing. And I think that should be able to help. So if someone is asking, please share details on how to apply for business health.
That one will handle. Derek, please share the link.
Okay. What is the best way to structure investment club circles to take up PE funding as their core business? I'm involved in a investment club for the last 11 years, but the best way to structure an investment club is transparency. Do not put powers in the hands of the few, and also look for people with like mindset in investment, such that at the end of the day you can collect the money and use it for what you'd like to use it for. Favoritism, investing in things where it is called self-interest, where you want people to invest in your own land so that you can earn a profit. Let the investment committee work. Let the structures work. If you've brought a deal and it is rejected, take it in good faith. Do not say, now I'm withdrawing my money because they've not accepted my idea. We normally have these things, and people normally have such. But I think the best way we can grow as a nation is to work through collective investments. No one ever achieves significant success by doing things alone. We need to learn to work together.
Yeah.
So investment clubs are needed, circles are needed, And I would say the West has done very well on SACCOs, Western Uganda, because I visited Western Uganda last year. And most of the SACCOs, the big SACCOs that are coming out, are coming from the West because they've learned how to be together, how they call it, the Baganda used to call it Agari Awamu. For them, they even used to have a place called, a SACCO called Banyankore Kweterana Cooperative Union. Do you know that all those words mean union? Kweterana is union. Cooperative is union. Banyankore Kweterana Cooperative Union. Banyankore Union, Union, Union. So we have to work together. And if we don't work together, it's going to be very difficult. I admire the SACCOs from the West. They're doing a great job. Let's do SACCOs based on regions, based on professions, based on businesses. There's no need for you to import a tenth of a container from China when you can come together, 10 people, and bring 5 containers. Look for like-minded people, put in place regulations. Yes, we can put in place rules that can enhance transparency. You don't sign alone on the account. Let's the 3 of us sign or 4 people sign. And don't choose people from the same cohort or people from the same background. You can choose Steven, Antonia, Emma, and Amos somewhere. Let them be signatories where people cannot collude. Let's improve the transparency environment in our society. The key word to everything is trust and transparency. The moment we are transparent, everything will work out.
Thank you. And I think that answers one of the questions that I thought would end with, which really speaks to the core of why most businesses have not embraced private equity. To your point, I had a saying, like, do you want to own an orange or a slice of watermelon? Yeah. So, which is values alignment. Most people fear to that they are going to bring in new people and they'll dilute the DNA of their business and they'll lose control. So, in your parting shot, Stephen, you could speak to that fear, which is what holds most people back.
We've had a challenge in Uganda. And this is what I see. This is my own opinion. Most of us do business for others. You have a business, you want to be seen. Someone buys a car, you don't need it, but because your friend has bought it, you also want to buy it. You don't even know its attributes, how it is working. You go to a bank, get a loan, and then get the similar car. Because your friend has bought maybe a boat, you also want to buy a boat. You don't even know, you don't have use for a boat, but competition is healthy, but compete internally. Because there's more value in your business. If you put the money back in the business will smile at you. Businesses are very, very jealous. If you remove the business, you have seen someone is building real estate apartments, you also want to go into apartments. Why can't you focus on your business to grow on your business? The people I'm advising, I'm telling them, grow in your line of business, where you have experience, where you have knowledge. If I'm in education, yes, I can acquire another school. I can go up the chain and buy a business school. If I'm in a primary school, I can buy a secondary school. I can go and do a university because that's where my area of experience and competence is. Why should I go into real estate? Yeah? And then I don't know how to construct. I don't know the fundamentals of construction. The apartments are badly constructed. I cannot even collect the money. But in the school, I know how to collect the money. In the school system, I know and I'm used to collections. I even have systems that can support me. Why then do I over diversify? Well, diversification is not bad, but diversification where you have professionals managing the business. Why do you diversify where it needs almost your entire time and you cannot give enough time to each business? Also, professionalizing involves hiring the right people. Hire an accountant. Have a lawyer handle your matters. Have a legal officer in your business if you're always doing contracts. If your business is about safety, have a safety officer. If you're in agriculture, have agriculture officers who are qualified. Don't just bring a brother from the village and make him a farm manager. Get someone who has studied, someone who has experience. Let's professionalize our businesses. And I would like to say, why our businesses don't cross over from one generation to another? It's because we have tended to say, you look at the business and you think you're going to be the alpha and omega. Yes, even you as an individual, you lose energy. So bring together people who are like-minded. You're going to say, yes, people sometimes lose focus. They have personal interests. Yes, but don't take the eyes off the ball. If someone loses interest, you twist a bit. If he does this, you twist a bit. You get another one. If you see that he has lost energy, you bring a much younger version to boost up the energy. Because you have people who think that they are alpha and omega in the business. It should not stop us from attaining the bigger objective. The bigger objective is to grow the business beyond myself. And that's what I think Enterprise Uganda is here for. Why should you stop learning? Many people say, for me, I'm no longer going to school. Then what are you going to do if you're not studying? You have to study. You have got to study to stay ahead because things are changing. Now there's AI coming up. How are you going to compete if you don't know what AI relates to? You don't know how to apply it. Private equity. There's a study on private equity, you don't show up. How are you going to find ways in which you're going to do it? Get people, professionals to come and speak to you. Change your network of friends. Involve a professional. Say, now I need to have a lawyer in my network. Call up a lawyer. Be deliberate. Be a friend. Let him come. Let's have coffee. Take time off. Leave your business. Go and have coffee. Join the golf club. I know of my clients who have in golf moving. They used to work together. Now they're in golf. And they're saying, yeah, golf is wonderful. And they meet new networks. When you meet new networks, then you have access to other businesses, have access to other ideas. But you're a person, you leave your home to your shop. Home, back home, wherever. Have networks, go to networks. Above all, think about the business. Involve the young blood. Give your children a chance. Let them bring in ideas. Let them lose some money. Because even you, to get where you are, you've lost some money. Be patient. Because if you don't sweat, these days at my foundation, KSK Foundation, we talk about developing the head, heart, and hands. If any of those is missing, you're not going to succeed. And what does it help you to build up an empire of about 10 billion and 30 days even before you wrote properly? The business is all gone. You'd rather build a 5 billion one where you have professionalized, you have people to assist you, and it keeps on going with time and time and time and time and time and time. So private equity is very important, but the challenge is transparency. Are you transparent? First, ask yourself a question. Am I transparent? You don't have to answer anyone. Am I transparent? Even to you, the business. Some of you take money out of the business to do weddings. Significantly, you take out a lot of money because you want to show off. Who are you trying to show? You will never be the richest man in the world. Even the richest men do weddings of 20 people, 30 people, but quality weddings. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do big weddings, but how many of those people are relevant to you? Or you're just splashing money because you want to show everyone you have money. Come on, you don't have money. Just go and look at the world's richest and you see how much money they have. Can you afford to do a wedding of 1,000 people, 2,000 people? Is it worth it? Let's start making decisions that are logical, not emotional in business. Ladies and gentlemen, I think my parting shot is let's be transparent. Let's consult professionals as we go on in business. There are law firms, there are accountancy firms, there are private equity practitioners like ourselves who are just out there, or capital practitioners who are out there to help you. And put value to them. Sometimes people want to gain so much. We're so selfish. It's good to be selfish sometimes, but evaluate how much am I paying my professional who is helping me. If you pay so little money, that's attention you're going to get. There's nothing expensive in this world. Everything is worth its value. If I charge you $5,000 and you got someone else who charges you $1,000, there's something about the pricing matrix. That's why Serena can be $250 and another hotel, Turako Homes, for don't want to insult anyone, I'll use my own, can be $80 because of the ingredients in the $80, the quality of the sleep in the $80, and the environment that you're going to find in the Serena. So we really need to focus, have advisors, however small the business is. You can have advisors. Not all advisors you must pay for. You can find a girlfriend who is a lawyer. You can find a boyfriend who is a lawyer. You can find an accountant, a former schoolmate. Have tea with him. You don't have to pay. Talk about it for 1 hour. Minimize the time you spend on Facebook and TikTok and all that. Let's focus. Spend time on our businesses. Invest quality time in your business. Calculate how much time you're spending in the business. The good things that we have 8 hours for work, 8 hours for leisure, and 8 hours for sleep. What will define you is what you do in the extra 8 hours. My uncle, Dr. Badru Chigundo, always tells me how you use the 8 hours is very, very important. So learn how to spread out your time and use that time very, very well. So thank you very much, Antonia. Unless there are still questions, I beg to say good day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephen. To what you said earlier about using our phones, not just for entertainment, but for business. I'm now curious when you talk about advisors. If I go into, we are all part of groups for our OBs, OGs, this class of this school. So now I'm curious to go back and see who is a lawyer, who is, to try and see who can invite for tea, to even invite as advisors to the business. So start looking at the group members with more curiosity around what they do, with the intention of finding some advisors. And I was part of a platform where Ronald was training on personal financial management, Ronald Mukasa, and he said he introduced a very profound concept around, are you an owner or a steward? I think part of people hoarding, it's because of the owner mentality. It's my thing, it's my thing. But if we transition our perspective to, I'm a steward, I'm stewarding this for the next generation, I'm stewarding this to make the country better, I'm stewarding, then that kind of mindset is what will help us become more transparent and more intentional about the things you've been talking about. So thank you, Stephen. Friends, the recording is always available on the Enterprise Uganda YouTube channel. He's again, to reiterate, he's talked a lot about good governance, being transparent. We already had that discussion, so you can go back to the YouTube channel, go through some of these webinars again to get yourself anchored into these best practices that we're discussing. The link to the business health check has been shared, which, like I said, will help give you a baseline on how organized your business is. And the link to the YouTube channel has also been shared. So thank you again for always making the time. Like I keep saying, I hope we don't say, oh, that was a very good presentation by Steven. Actually pick up something and implement it in your business. It is those small gradual steps that actually make the business,
Antonia,
make the difference between, yeah, please go ahead.
Antonia, before I go, I wanted to talk about something that I've not talked about. For you to be successful with the PE fund, there's what we call values alignment. I don't know if SME know what it means by values alignment. The PE fund comes in and says, you know what? We are here to grow the value of the business. We are here to make you more efficient. We are here to make sure the business can serve the community. We are here to make sure that we give extraordinary service to people. You, as the owner of the business, must note down their values and ensure that your values align with the private equity fund, the person who is putting in money. Because whenever values do not align, for example, I may want to keep the business, to grow money in the business, and for you want to take out money. We're going to have a value misalignment. If both of us want to grow the business, I may want to do a business. If you've seen most of these PE managers, I'll talk about this. They manage a lot of money, but you will not find that. Sorry, I'm going to use an example. You'll not find that every year he buys a new car. You understand? Because it's not in line with the business that he's doing. And anyway, his car is functional. It doesn't mean that if all the time you want to keep on buying a new car because there's the latest one that is coming out, the business is losing value as an MD. So they will tell you, buy a car, maybe we give it 5 years, then buy another. So if on such small things you have value misalignment, then you're going to have issues with the PE fund. Because then you want to budget for a new car every year, and for them, they're saying, let's use that money to grow the business. Because in a business, there's no small money. All money that is put back in a business is valuable because it's capital. You're going to have an example. They may have a value alignment that we allocate capital to training our staff. And for you say, no. Why do we train them? That's going to cost us money. Sometimes training people gives you sustainability. Not sometimes, all the time. Now, if you do not train people, the sustainability is not going to be there. And the PE fund wants to leave you in such a way that whoever comes in, the business will run sustainably. And I wanted to talk about some other things that are talking about. We talk about the sustainability. What gives us sustainability? Sustainability comes with many things. Looking out for the future generation, looking at the company growing beyond yourself. Let's stop being selfish. Can the business grow beyond myself? Can I hand over before I'm totally broken? Some people do not hand over until he's dead and buried. Why do you not hand over when you see that you're becoming very weak? Hand over, mentor the person so that he can make mistakes while you're still there. I like the way an uncle of mine called Kaduchiweru does it. He handed over his business 20 years ago. And I said, why do you hand over? They told me, Steven, let them make mistakes when I'm watching. And indeed, the business is still there because he handed over when he was still strong and is able to advise. Also, as entrepreneurs, you cannot know it all. Gain some exposure. Go for business tours. Uma is always saying $10,000, and you say it's too much. No, go for a tour. You may come up with an idea of $1 million because you've gone for that tour. Meet people out of your environment. Maybe you think an apartment of 10 floors is a big investment and you call yourself tycoon. When you go to Dubai and you see an 80 floor being put down on the floor, then you realize that, maybe I've not worked hard enough and I need to work harder. So we need to leave our environment and go to other environments. Then we shall realize that actually there's so much more to be done than what we've done. Like my former school used to say, Gachari Mabaga. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Very well said. And with that, we'll come to the close of today's topic. The recording and presentation will be availed on the YouTube channel and on the email link where you got the invitation. Have a good rest of the day. We'll be back here next week, Thursday, with another thought-provoking topic. So please stay tuned for the next topic that will be shared during the course of the week. Akume, stay well.